Hello, hello, hello. Let's just make sure everything is, operating fine. If you come into the chat and into the live stream, please let me know if you can see and hear me. I'd appreciate that. Just giving a little time for everyone to get the notifications and for them to get in here. I have a secret. And I know every time I say that, it probably sounds like it's something big. But I have a secret. Being lazy is what has 10x my life. Mhm. Being lazy is what has 10x my life. I have become more confident, more clear, more intuitive, and more focused. And my nervous system is more regulated. Being lazy has 10x my life. Most women don't realize this, but being lazy is actually a frequency upgrade. And today I'm going to break that down. Way the world has lied to women about rest, why doing less makes you more powerful, and how lazy energy becomes a feminine portal to wealth, clarity, intuition, and divine redirection. I am not talking about the I give up lazy or the depressed lazy. I mean the kind of lazy where you finally stop performing, stop proving, stop pushing, and you let your frequency breathe. This is a video I wish someone made for me years ago. And so we're going to focus in on the lie about lazy women. Hey, Catitude 369, happy Friday, Pistol Wives. So I'm going to assume that everyone can see and hear me. Okay. And we're going to just jump right in. The world has lied about lazy women, and I'm coming here to correct the narrative, to put some truth on our names as lazy women. Women were programmed to fear being lazy because a lazy woman cannot be controlled. A lazy woman isn't producing. A lazy woman isn't carrying the emotional labor of everyone around her. A lazy woman returns back to her body, her intuition, and her truth. Society didn't fear us being tired. Society feared us being rested because a rested woman is a dangerous woman. Now, when I was younger, the moment I slowed down, people attacked me. People are so trained to fear rested women that they cannot tell the difference between sick versus lazy. I slowed down due to illness, and I was attacked because they thought I was lazy. I was told you're useless, you're lazy, you'll never be anything, you don't try hard enough, you need to do more. And I realized as I got older, they weren't reacting to my actions, they were reacting to my energy. A woman who rests is a woman who can see clearly. A woman who rests is a woman who stops playing small. A woman who rests is a woman who receives divine instruction. Being lazy didn't make me less, it made me more magnetic, more prettier, more wealthier, more focused. It just made me more woman. And see, lazy is just a nervous system reset that every woman needs. Women mistake the issues that they're having with their nervous system when they start to feel certain symptoms, such as fatigue, burnout, sensory overload, emotional exhaustion, spiritual depletion, for laziness. But your body isn't being lazy. Your body is begging for regulation. When your nervous system is in survival mode, you tend to overwork, overthink, overgive, hustle, push, force, and nothing flows. But the moment that you decide to slow down, the moment that you stop forcing it, the moment you get lazy, your nervous system shifts from fight or flight into feminine receiving mode. Relaxations, Relaxation opens the intuitive channel. Stillness increases your frequency. Safety awakens your spiritual gifts. Lazy is not low vibration. Lazy is the return to your natural vibration. Lazy energy raises your frequency. So here are 5 ways that lazy energy raises your frequency. The first thing is your intuition deepens. When you stop doing, you stop hearing, you start getting downloads, nudges, ideas, visions, clarity. Every major redirection in my life came when I got lazy. My move into this house, my relationship got better, my creativity deepened, my money flow became easier, all came from stillness. The second thing is your energetic field opens. Busyness closes your aura, rest expands it. When your aura expands, people want to help you, money finds you, opportunities align, support flows in. Magnetism requires space, not pressure. So, number 3, you become more receptive instead of resistant. When you're in go, go, go mode, you block blessings, not because you're unworthy, but because you're unavailable. Lazy energy says, I'm open now. Number 4, your feminine energy activates. The feminine is not activated when you grind, she's activated when you soften. Number 5, you detach from outcomes. God speaks when you detach. When you stop controlling, you start receiving. I am not promoting the do nothing lazy I see on social media. There are 2 kinds of lazy women. The productive lazy, which is high frequency. This means you rest with intention. You listen to your body, you receive intuitive nudges, you follow divine instruction, you reset your nervous system. This is the feminine flow. And then there is the other kind that social media promotes, which is called the destructive lazy, which is low frequency, where a woman checks out. She avoids her problem. She numbs herself. She ignores her intuition and she doesn't follow through. This is not what we're talking about. Lazy does not mean lifeless. Lazy means resting your mind so you can receive your next move. Let me tell you a personal truth. Some of the biggest blessings of my life happened during my lazy seasons. When it was time for me to move, when it was time for me to move, and I have a full story about that because this happened to me recently, a couple of months ago, when I was living in my old place. I was fighting to have creativity, and I've never fought that in my life. I've always been that person that everyone knows has downloads and creative ideas, always constantly flowing. When I was in the other house, even though, and I'm going to be honest about this, I ignored the intuitive nudge to move. I had got that download a year before, a year prior, and I just ignored it because I really hate moving. I despise moving. I despise packing up. I despise going through the entire process of moving. So I ignored it and I stayed in that house a lot longer than I should have. And what was the results of me ignoring an intuitive nudge? My creativity started to suffer. I literally was fighting for creativity, and that's never happened to me before. The downloads that I was so used to receiving, they dried up. The intuition that I was so used to relying on, I couldn't feel it. And I knew that it was because I ignored the intuitive nudge to move. And so what did I do? I got off my behind and I got with my husband and we had the conversation and we started looking to move. And when I saw the home, I knew it was mine. When I saw the home, I saw it on the internet first, and I had already put the paperwork in before I even walked through the home because I knew it was mine. I literally had a vision of me pulling up and unloading everything and moving into the house. So I knew that I had to follow that and follow it through. And when I did that, as soon as I walked through the door of my new home, creativity started just flow. And I'm not sure how long some of you've been here, but if you were with me like maybe a couple months ago, you know I barely showed up. It's not because I don't want to show up. I'm a person who is led by intuition. I go with the flow. So if I have a download that come to you all and have a conversation about, that is what I bring to the community. I ignore algorithms. I am not an algorithm person. I am a download creative person. And when I am pushed to talk about something, that is what I do. And so since I did not have that creative flow that I'm so used to, I took a lot of breaks. And I know some of you all are so used to me resting that you probably thought, oh, she's just resting. Yeah, I was resting because I'm used to going into rest in order to be clear, in order to get downloads, in order to be more creative. But even that wasn't working in that home. And as soon as I followed through that intuitive nudge and, followed the path that was open to me, I walked through the door and I started getting that free flow of creativity. Now I'm back to having content for a year. Now I'm back to creative ideas and downloads and intuition constantly pulling me and on the pathway of direction that I'm supposed to be on. But when you ignore or you decide, hey, that thing, when you ignore the intuition, I think you need to be aware of what may happen because I've already experienced it. So it wasn't working. When I needed to move, I couldn't rely on the overthinking or any type of grinding, not even laying down and getting the rest that I usually get and get the normal downloads. But I was resting. And so I had to make that move. I had to make the changes so that I can get where I needed to be. So this home became the best place for my creativity, my money flow, and my alignment. Lazy energy put me in the right place at the right time. It is because of that attunement that people fear rested women. People only called me lazy because they didn't understand a rested woman is uncontrollable. A rested woman is intuitive. A rested woman sees through manipulation. A rested woman stops over functioning. A rested woman receives divine instruction. People who benefit from your exhaustion will always demonize your rest. They don't want you to discover how powerful you are when you stop performing. This is, and so I want to talk about, first I'm going to pause because I do want to talk about how to use lazy energy and how we can utilize that lazy energy so we can go to that next level. Melissa says, I just know this message is for me, LOL. Yes, I'm glad I know it's for someone because I was like, I know in order to be honest, I have to be honest about what things have helped me. I utilize my content to talk about my personal stories and wisdom. And me not becoming unbothered about the label of being lazy was one of the best beginnings for me. It's the thing that helped 10x my life because I went through a phase in life where I realized that we live in a twisted world where people cannot even discern the difference between a person who is sick versus a person who is lazy. That's how twisted it is. And so when I was sick, I got so much feedback that was not helpful in getting healthier. I was literally told and called so many different names. And there wasn't a lot of comforts made for me. Now, of course, my husband supported me. And he was definitely the person who actually, backed me in all these things that were happening. But rest is one of the reasons I give to my health, my good health now. Giving my body the time to rest and for it to heal, that is one of the reasons why I will always and never demonize women being in rest, and women being in rest and being able to take that rest without it being looking at as you lazy, just because you took a nap, or just because you took some time to meditate, or just because you took some time to sit in stillness and silence. And the way the world is operating, we are being conditioned and trained to never have rest, just like men. Okay. But this is what I have discovered. And this is the formula. I'm going to call it the feminine formula: lazy plus inspired action. What happens is, be lazy. When you're lazy, you get a download. When you get that download, you get clarity. When you get that clarity, you get inspired action. Inspired action equals results. You don't stay lazy. You rest, receive, and rise. Both are necessary. So let's talk about how to use lazy energy and practices that you can put into play in real time. The first thing, you have to learn how to lay down and ask important questions like, what do I need to know? You will hear something. Number two, do nothing until the anxious thoughts settle. Basically, let your anxious thoughts run out. Your frequency will rise instantly. Number three, sit in silence for 10 minutes. Your silence is a portal. Number four, track your nervous system. Do I feel safe today? Safety is magnetism. Number five, I know number five is going to be a little bit difficult because we live in a world that's available to us 24/7. Technology runs all day long, but you're going to have to learn to let yourself be bored. Boredom is the nervous system recalibrating. Number six, learn to take a lazy day once a week. You do not have to keep going, 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 going. Someday you need to sit down, be silent, and be still. And you're going to watch your intuition come alive, especially for the women who feel a disconnect to your intuition. The thing is, if you continue to ignore something, if you continue to ignore your intuition, there's no reason for your intuition to operate properly. So if you're trying to get back into that connection, start with being lazy at least once a week and watch your intuition start to reconnect with you. Number seven, when the aligned nudges come, move. You will not regret it. Or you may have a situation where if you start to ignore your intuition, the more you ignore it, the less you're going to feel or be in tune with it. And the more you ignore it, the more consequences you will have because you're not following your divine instructions. It's like the divine instructions are being downloaded to you, and you're like, I don't want those. I don't want those. And so you cannot be surprised when consequences start to show up because you're ignoring the divine instructions. So those are 7 things that you can practically use in real time to start to use being lazy. All right, just checking to see if we have any comments or any questions. But that is one of the things that has been my superpower. I have truly learned to be lazy, to be unbothered, and to cultivate stillness and silence. And it is not easy, especially the world that we live in, to kind of block out everything, to sit in stillness and to sit in silence. That's the reason why, for me personally, when I started doing meditation, it took me a while to be able to do more than 2 minutes of meditation. After 2 minutes, I felt bored, or I felt like my mind was wandering and I couldn't hold on to that connection. But that's because of the fact that I realized I allowed myself to be brainwashed in this world where we feel like we have to be connected to something or someone 24/7. So we have lost the ability to be still and to be silent. And so when I started to practice being still and silent, it helped my meditation. It helped me to really be able to drop into that space within me, to really connect with the God within me. It helped me to really get the downloads of divine instructions that I desire. It helped me to be more intuitive. That's the reason why I would say when it comes to my intuition, it's 99% time. 99% of the time, my intuition is right. 99% of the time, I'm going to read a person correctly. And that is because of the fact that I allow myself to be lazy. I don't sit up here and try to have myself with a full on routine and a daily schedule where I'm constantly going and going and going and going. And that seems to be the narrative that I've noticed is being pushed on women constantly. This is been pushed on women to the point that women are saying, when I say, hey, follow your intuition, they're like, what is that? What does that mean? What does that feel like? We're so disconnected from self, so disconnected from the God within us, the higher power, the divine instructions. We're so disconnected because we're going, going, going. And we're so busy. You're so busy, you're getting scammed by men with GEDs. You're so busy that you're getting scammed by men that is very obvious they're manipulative and they don't mean you any well. You wouldn't be scammed by men or anybody else by that matter if you were learning to be lazy. Because when you start to be lazy, you learn how to be still and to be silent and to get that divine instruction. When people come to you and they try to manipulate you, gaslight, misuse you, you're going to see right through them. That's the reason I say 99% of the time, you can't scam me. You can't lie to, you can't even lie to me. I am a walking human detector, lie detector, because I can detect if you're lying. And it's not hard when you're not, stressed out, deregulated, and so focused on going, going, going in your routine and your schedule. You can sit with self and utilize the power within you to be able to read people and see right on through them. Like, this is why you're getting scammed. You don't got time. You don't have time to really focus in on self in the way that it requires. This is the reason why you don't know where you're going in life. This is the reason why your life is going in circles. Because there's no reason for your life to go in circles, because you already have the instruction manual within you. You need to access it. If once you access it, life becomes so much easier, because now it's no longer of, hey, I'm listening to other people on what I should do with my life. I'm listening to who I love and what I should do with my life, or I'm listening to my family to what I should do with my life. I get to listen to that, to the God within me and the divine instructions are available to me. And now I'm on the path to get the things that I want out of life. Now I get to live my dreams out. But being lazy is a frequency. It's a game changer. It is a way to get clarity in confusion. And I'm going to give you a secret. This is something I've learned. This is just being a person who avidly likes to watch, learn, and listen. Okay. I literally listen more than I talk. And one of the things I realize is that if you are a person so bogged down with your routine and your schedule, and you're not rested, the powers that be love that. You know why? Because they've already seen the results of rested women. When women are rested, they want more rights. They want more power. They want better relationships. When women are rested, they will want more things for their kids. When women are rested, they build communities and families. When women are rested, they have more money. So the power that be, society, world, whatever you want to call it, they understand the power of a rested woman. So what do? They keep bringing in more things to bog you down. So you're not rested. You're deregulated. You're all over the place. You're experiencing chaos. Because the more you experience that, the less you're going to be focused on community and world affairs. The less you're going to be focused on your fellow man. The less you're going to be focused on the family next door. You don't have time to focus on that. You can only just get through each day. And that's where they want you at. They want you where you only get through each day. Because getting through each day, this means that you're not standing in your power, your clarity, your intuition, and you're not holding on to the divine instructions within. And so this is the reason why it's so important that they push a narrative that if you are resting, you're lazy. And not even just if you're resting, if you're sick, you're lazy. Women are not even allowed to rest. It's not something that is pushed because they understand the power of a rested woman. They understand if there's a lot of us, and I mean, I'm talking about the collective of rested women, be able to get something, the world will shake, the world will move, the world will change. But how can you change anything when you're so bogged down by just your personal life? You're so bogged down by trying to figure out what's your next move and what direction you should take. So the world knows what the power of a rested woman. That's the reason why there's a narrative of there's a push to make sure you're not rested. And I remember as a young mother, one of the things I started to see, I saw this a long time ago before it started. As a mother, and I know everyone isn't a mother, but this is another way to kind of bog down women with things to the point that they never have a break. And I saw this a mile away when I had small children, and they kept trying to get your kids and something else and something else and something else and something else and something else. Just think about it. If you're constantly driving your kids to soccer practice, baseball practice, football practice, your tennis practice, track practice, kung fu, and all these different extracurricular activities. And I'm not saying I'm against kids being in extracurricular activities. I am saying we don't have to have it to the level that we do. Because who takes those kids to those extracurricular activities? The mother does, the woman does. And what does that mean? If she's working and then she's mothering and she's taking these kids to all these different activities, there's no rest for that woman. And then even back then, I saw the need for schedules for women. They kept pushing. The more organized you're going to be with a schedule, the more together you're going to have and have your life together if it's scheduled. Just think about it. Schedule leads to no thought. Schedule leads to no thinking, no creativity. Schedules lead to you doing one thing after another mindlessly, like a robot. And if you're in that space, because you don't have time to think, you don't have time to make decisions, life-changing decisions. You don't have time to get the divine instructions that's needed. But I saw this years ago, and I literally pushed back towards all of that. I refused. And guess what? Me refusing still put me in the category of being lazy, because I refuse to operate in a life, even as a mother, in a way where I cannot have time for myself. I was considered to be selfish and lazy. The children love me because they honestly didn't want to be involved in all those things. They only want to be involved in things that they love. They didn't want to be in just back-to-back scheduling of extracurricular activities. They just want to be in things they loved. As long as they stayed in those things, they were happy. But I was labeled as lazy because I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not signing them up for this and this and this and this. We're going to pick one thing. And we're going to pick one thing per season. Because the way you have it set up now, these mothers are going all through the year, different extracurricular activities all through the year, through different seasons. And so, trust me when I tell you, society, the powers that be, they understand how much control they have over women when women don't have rest. They understand that you don't have time to look into the choices that you're making. You don't have time to look into how your family is being established. You don't have time to look at your relationships and if these relationships are valuable to you, because you're too busy. You're bogged down with one thing after another without any time for yourself, because you've been trained by society to believe that if you're not constantly doing something, you're lazy. You can't even be sick in the way this world is run. You can't even be sick. That is considered as lazy too. The lazy message is just what I needed. Yes, I'm glad it's resonating with you ladies. Because this is something that I figured out. And like I said, I realized this wasn't going to be my life, that I was going to do some things differently, that I refuse to give all of my time away to the point where I lose myself in the process. And that's another thing that happens when you're never lazy, you're never resting, you're losing yourself along the way, because there is something that you're not able to get for yourself because you're doing everything for everybody else. And this means that if you're going to be lazy, you have to take on the mindset that lazy is good. Remember, I'm not talking about the do nothing lazy that's promoted on social media. I am talking about productive lazy, where you learn to sit in stillness and quiet and get the things that you need so you can make decisions that's going to be helpful for your life, versus the destructive laziness where you're just giving up. You're not doing anything. You're just sitting there waiting for something to happen. And I have found that formula to 10x my life. Rest, get the downloads, get clarity, and then take intuitive nudges, and you get results. It's worked for me every single time. It's improved my life at every single level. And I just want this community that's listening to the sound of my voice to know that just because you are in a time where you're still and you're quiet, it's in the silence where you get the downloads and you become more clear. Don't allow people, society, or anybody to tell you that you're just being lazy. All right, I'm checking to see if there's any other comment. Being lazy didn't make me broke. It made me expensive. It made me magnetic. It made me spiritually connected. It made me intuitive. It made me powerful. Lazy energy taught me that my body knows before my mind does. So yes, be lazy. Let your nervous system reset. Let your intuition rise. Let your frequency expand. And when the inspired action arrives, get up, move, and follow it. All right, so I'm gonna let the chat stay open for a second here. If anybody has any questions or any comments, but I thought this was an important conversation because of the fact that this is one of the things that's been a game changer for me. It is one of the things that I realize is much needed for women, especially when there's so many voices yelling at you that you should be go, 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 that you should be doing, 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 that you shouldn't ever, take a break or get any type of rest. And they don't know that what they're meaning, what's really happening. They're encouraging you to disconnect from intuition and the divine instructions that are already available to you within you. When you decide to have that lifestyle of going, 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 and doing, 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 and never have time for yourself. So learn to schedule some time. Like for me, of course, I have a lot more time, but I still make sure that I make sure I have some time available so that I can just be. Because you don't understand. When you're able to sit in the stillness and in the silence, some of my greatest creative downloads, some of my greatest opportunities and experiences that came to me was because of the fact that I took the time to be lazy. And even times when I am in the moment or state of confusion, that clears right up when I learn how to sit still. Because even I have learned to coach myself and be like, well, Braille, guess what? If you are in confusion, that means there's some kind of disconnection between you and your intuition, because your intuition is always available. You always have access to your intuition, and having access to your intuition, you have access to divine instruction. This is a gift from God to you as a woman, and you should be using it. It is your greatest asset. It is your greatest power. And it hurts my heart when I hear women say, I don't know what it is, or I can't connect with it. But I understand also what is happening and why they can't connect with it. Because we are living in a world that's training women as well as men that there's no rest for the weary. There's no rest for the sick. There's no rest for anyone, that you must be going 24/7. You must be connected and available to everyone 24/7. And this definitely weakens your connection to your intuition, because it's in the silence. And that's the reason why I always get up an hour early for my entire household, because of the fact that I know the quieter it is, the easier it is for me to slip into that, slip into the power of myself and connecting with God within me. And that is where I'm going to get the downloads and the creativity and the next step. And the next thing is going to open up for me. Just in the silence and the stillness. So my favorite time of day is before dawn. That is my favorite time of day. In the morning, before dawn, before the sun starts to rise. All right, so I don't see any other questions or comments. Before I let everyone go and close this out, I want you to be aware that we do have a free to join community that's on school.com. So if you want to join, I can drop the link in the chat, but it's also going to be attached to this video at the end. Just remember, there's so much content. At one point, I had 1,000 pieces of content. 1,000 pieces of content. Y'all only have access to 500 on YouTube. So I'm putting the other 500 in my community. So it's free to join. Yes, there are going to be some areas that only members can see, but everyone's welcome. And we also have Black Friday coming up. So if you're wanting to explore a ritual box, or you want to explore my website at pedestalwifesociety.com, the Black Friday sales are coming, and they're up to 30% off. So I'm excited for that also. So all that information is also going to be attached at the end of the video. So if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to get ready to go ahead and close out. I just want to be a woman who welcomes you into being lazy. And I want you to realize that it does something for you to be lazy. And you don't listen to people who tell you that as long as you're not the lazy do for nothing and you're the productive lazy, you will be fine. You will still be able to 10x your life by being lazy. And so I don't see any other comments or any question in chat. So I'm going to get ready to close out. I appreciate you ladies all the way to the end. I see you all on the next one. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.